What's up, Os? My name is Gilbert. We're here at Breakaway. We are going to have an amazing conversation about sport karate in cinema. We have a beautiful panel here today. I'm going to ask you guys what your name is and just say one fun fact about yourself. Who are you, sir?
Hi, I'm Steve Terada, and I do sport karate martial arts, but back in the 2000s, so it's a long time ago.
Next.
Hi guys, I'm Gemma Nguyen, and it's been 20 years since I last competed in sport karate.
Jesus.
Next.
I'm Jeremy Marinas, and I'm just a guy who likes karate and film.
So Jeremy and I were talking. We're like, hey, we gotta do another talk. Like, it'd be fun to do like something about sport karate. Something that's like kind of like low key, but also high key in a weird way in the industry. So I think the best way to start is just kind of talk a little bit. How about this? How we all go around and see what our definition of sport karate is.
Oh my God.
See, isn't it hard to
Very
describe?
broad.
Yeah. So,
You go first. Yeah.
sport karate is basically freestyle martial arts where you can make creative forms. And basically, Marvel stole all the moves from our circuits and put them on superheroes, and now we don't have a sport.
Now it's just karate.
Now it's just karate.
Steve, how would you define it?
I think sport karate is basically the competition circuit. You know, it's a mixture of everyone's different styles that they studied in, put into like a divisional format. So musical forms, creative forms, traditional not so
forms.
traditional forms made for.
So karate is
for
a sport.
Yeah. Basically,
Yeah, exactly.
sport format.
all the
dang.
all the
I made
different
that way more
flavors of karate.
I like that one. Sport format karate.
Yeah, sport format.
Gemma, how would you define it?
So I second Steve, something similar to just all the different flavors of karate. You know, like it could be Japanese traditional, Korean traditional. There was even some wushu divisions.
Ming Lu. You
Yeah,
remember her?
DX. You remember DX?
DX,
Dude.
I am DX.
So
Just
there was
like
a
that.
lot
I'm not
of.
gonna do it either.
So many times.
So I'd love to ask, actually, let's go around. Let's start with Steve and go this way. Like, what is your background, your relationship to sport karate? Like, I don't think, actually, a lot of people in the room or people watching know, I feel like a fanboy in front of all three of you, actually. Like, with the sport karate, a little bit with the tricking. It's just like, I don't think people know you guys are kind of legends that are kind of
Ninja,
sitting
please.
here. And I'm just an observer. That's all I am here. So Steve, like, tell us just a little about your history with sport karate. You came into the scene a little later.
Well, traditionally, I'm a Tong Soo-do guy, so Chuck Norris, lineage way back down, and then started doing local tournaments, saw what the actual circuit was about. But I started relatively late, you know.
Yeah, how old were you when you started?
And for NASCA, I started when I was 16, and that was only
What?
because. I started pretty late because it's I had to build up enough money to go to the East Coast tournaments because NASCA is always like pretty far from California.
You have to
I'm a
fly
California
around.
kid.
Basically, you have to fly around for all these competitions.
But most of the
Yeah.
tournaments are East Coast.
Yeah, so
And there's 12 a year.
Yeah.
So-
And
you
by
got
the
paid
time
for
Gemma was 12,
divisions
she
and
was
all of
on
that.
ESPN.
I know. I was watching her black and blue videos, like of her competing in like '98 or something like that.
So
when
now
she's a
that
little
you're
kid.
all like married and pregnant and stuff, when
Now
when
you're all
nobody-
pregnant and stuff. Yo, now you're all pregnant and stuff? Can you still do it?
no.
and just right now.
Now that you're all pregnant and stuff, when I was like 10 years old and I used to watch like when the U.S. Open used to get aired on
ESPN.
ESPN.
It's probably, would you guys say it's like the only
ESPN.
big
Yeah.
martial arts tournament?
So they
on?
would play that alongside with all the Girls Gone Wild infomercials, like at 2 in the
Wait,
morning.
are you serious?
Yes.
That's
'Cause
true.
The only time they played
Steve.
U.S. Open was like late at night
Late at night.
because they didn't have a big enough like viewership to play all the sport karate stuff on the regular hours.
Yeah.
So I just remember watching all of them, and the infomercials were always the Girls Gone Wild ones because it was that late at night.
So,
Is that why you brought that up?
Well, no, but the funny thing is, what I was gonna say
No, you brought it up because you wanted to say, I used to watch Girls Gone Wild.
well, no, I was gonna
Different
say
types of girls going wild. That's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
I used to have like the biggest crush on Gemma
Like,
because she did nunchucks.
Yeah.
And I was like a nunchuck kid as a kid, and I was like super into Asian girls when I was little, and I was like, there's a girl on stage doing nunchucks. And I was like,
Damn it, I
was
played
like,
the fifth.
"That's
Me
cool."
too.
Right?
Gemma Nunchuck.
I feel
come
like
on, man.
every sport karate kid as a kid who didn't know you on the circuit probably had a crush on you at some point.
Dude, you and Dominique
Wow.
Moceanu
It had
in
to
the
be
96
the
Olympics.
haircut. It was probably the
I was
haircut.
10. I didn't know any better. Just kidding. Anyways, that was my hot. So what do you do? What do you do in sport karate?
Hey, what do you do in sport karate? All right, so Jeb, I mean, yeah. So what's your history? You are kind of like a child prodigy. Let's be honest. You came from Charlie Lee, Team Charlie Lee.
Dang, name dropping.
I think you're well known. I think it's no surprise for also doing team synchronized forms. Probably one of the cleanest. I forgot what your instructor's name is.
David Moss.
David Moss, like that was kind of legendary. People were buying the VHSs, watching that. Everyone was copying it. So tell us about that.
Well, I started the tournament scene in 1998. We first debuted at Charlie Lee Nationals, which was a big deal because it's like our school's tournament. And when I first earned my black belt, my background's Taekwondo. I didn't know it for the longest time though. We called ourselves karate because it was more marketable in the Virginia area. It was actually, it took me like second degree to realize I was actually doing Taekwondo. But I earned my black belt, and the same day he asked me if I wanted to do team forms and compete. And so, for me, I was just so excited, like getting to perform next to my instructor. And I had no idea what the circuit was going to be like because I didn't really compete that much. And we debuted at Charlie Lee Nationals doing team forms. And it was just the most like exhilarating thing ever, especially for a 10-year-old. You're on stage and it's just lights, bright, and then like you don't see anyone in the audience. You just hear people cheering. And it was, I remember winning that tournament, but then Mr. Moss was telling us like, this doesn't really count because it's our tournament, right? It's like our home court.
Yeah.
So we were like,
okay.
It wasn't, I think, until like Kentucky that we officially won a tournament that wasn't like Charlie Lee's. But yeah, we trained for like 6 months or 6 to 8 months, and then just like debuted, and people were like, whoa, like where did they come from? And it was actually really cool. It took a while though for me to start winning individual.
But
like,
who made up this?
Steve, do it. Do it for the camera. Do it for the camera.
No, the flower pose.
So
Gemma's signature
we're gonna put a
move.
video
Who made
up,
that up?
but Gemma's closing move wasn't even really a martial arts move. She would do a split.
signature.
No,
Dude,
he
that's
would
tilt
catch
her
me.
head.
I would be on his back. I'd do a kick, and then he'd catch me in his arms, and I'd throw my leg over like this and go, ding.
And then the crowd goes wild, and everyone was like, "Wow, that's ridiculous." They
This
just
is
got
when
perfect
sport
tens.
karate had personality. Remember that?
Ooh,
That's
shots
true.
fired.
Like
The old-
like
the
David
old
Douglas.
school?
David Douglas or Jimmy Pham. Jimmy Pham.
Jimmy Pham, dude.
God.
Yeah, Butch Marks.
It was
Yeah.
a different breed back
Butch
then,
Marks
man.
with
I feel like for people watching, like they're just naming Pokemon right now.
Anthony
I know, for real.
Atkins.
Anthony Atkins.
Anthony Atkins, legit. And then speaking of teams, your background,
So
West Coast Action Team.
no, technically I was because I didn't join West Coast Action Team or West Coast Martial Arts until I kind of already made a name for myself in tricking.
Yeah.
I was the broke kid who couldn't afford to go and do sport karate tournaments because all the tournaments are on the East Coast, and the only one on the West Coast was Compete Nationals.
Yeah.
And I think I was doing the knockoff version of NASCA, which was BASCA, Bay Area Sport Karate.
Oh my God, it was called Basca.
I'm sorry.
You didn't even know,
didn't know
there
that
was
that
a BASCA?
Yeah.
That's Golden Gate Nationals.
Yo,
I mean, there was
bootleg
multiple
what
NASCA.
a
on Golden
bootleg.
Gate.
Yeah, back in Atlanta, I also did.
That's true.
I also did FASCA.
NBL,
NBL. Yeah, it
remember?
was NBL,
National Black
yeah.
Belt League.
Those are
so
BASCA?
I did a lot of regional tournaments,
Yeah.
and I think the only tournament I ever was able to make it to was a Charlie Lee Nationals in 2007.
Virginia.
And then a U.S. Open, and that's where I was supposed to.
2007, that was, wow.
We old girl. We old.
No, that was 2 years after I retired.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you weren't there. And then
We old girl.
I was supposed to destroy Steve Terada on the U.S. Open trick battle, but he destroyed himself by
yeah.
warming up with a hyper snappy swipe.
Wait,
Yeah.
preface this.
Tell us what happened.
Explain what this is.
Warming up with a hyper snappy swipe. I know most of you don't understand this, but in 2007,
I know it.
Hyper snappy swipe.
Yeah, it's a good move.
It's just hyper extend your leg.
Absolutely.
Broken explosion.
It was
Yeah,
like
that's
the
exactly what
Mewtwo
happened.
tricks.
So wait, U.S. Open. They kind of debuted the tricking, the idea of tricking.
I'm getting a cramp right now.
Thinking about
I'm
it?
dehydrated.
Oh jeez, I'm sorry. Are you serious?
It
Drink some
happens.
water.
It happens.
Can we get one
Continue
of those?
your
Paragon?
story.
Can you explain like the U.S. Open? They did this. They kind of introduced tricking on a national stage. Like, what was a trick battle? Very different if you look it up on YouTube now. So.
Yeah, they made a separate division just for the U.S. Open to debut it. So it'd be head to head.
Yeah.
Going back and forth with trick passes, or for some reason there was like a weird format so audience could actually watch it. So it was a lot. It was a lot different. It was very like back and forth.
And it was experimental back then.
Yeah,
like,
it was like one of the first times that they did it like that.
Yeah.
Like
But-
battles now, or like there's games of horse and stuff like
Yeah.
that. There's different ways to do it, but like back then, you would just kind of trick at each other like a b-boy battle.
Yeah,
Like a cipher.
pretty much.
Whoever got the loudest cheers won, really.
Yeah, it didn't fall. And
Yeah. So let's talk about Kim Do then.
Dude, what is that?
I battled him a lot.
Yeah, there was one time in particular where he looked like he got beat up after a battle. Why? I felt like that was a really personal. Like I felt really emotionally moved during that battle. Was there anything?
you're bringing. Okay.
Wait, context. Why is he egging you on?
Because
Is he your arch nemesis, Kim Do?
No, I mean
Nguyen?
it's mostly my bad. I was like an 18-year-old kid, and then I started dating his ex at the time.
Hey, man, don't do that.
Nobody does that.
Yeah. So that's also during the times when they started having all these trick battles and trying to introduce different formats. So I battled Kim a few times that year because underlying there was a lot of drama, I guess.
It was emotionally charged.
Emotionally charged
Mostly
every
because you
single
were
time.
dating his ex. Yep.
I'm sorry if that made you
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable.
Nah.
Steve. It's just
It's all water under the bridge.
Well, let's
Yeah.
bring Kim out right now. He comes out.
Yeah, but honestly, he came out to like banger in his divisions. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
he tried really hard.
Yeah. He started leveling up a lot during those years.
You inspired him.
Sometimes that's all you need is a little kick in the butt.
No, you inspired me, dude. Like when
Did
I
he
was
date your
growing
ex
up.
too?
Steve Terada is known for dating everyone's ex.
You're welcome.
Steve Terada dated my ex. I'm gonna kill him. No, I mean I remember Terada, like to me the way I view you in tricking, at least in tricking, you were like the bridge between the John Valera and the new age trickers.
Yes, I agree.
You know what I mean? So like
90s
when
to
we want to
2000s.
talk about like the highest level of tricking, when you came on the scene in your black pants and red gi and you're doing like jackknives and snap and swipes whenever you wanted to, it was like, okay, that's like you have to be better than that guy. You know what I mean? So like for me,
That's
I was
crazy.
watching your videos every day from like 9 to 14,
Samplers.
just doing and I like there was a few heads like you, Chris Balua, pretty much anybody on Loop Kicks before I got on Loop Kicks. And then all the OGs. I would watch the videos all the time on bylang.com before there was YouTube. That I was like, all right, I need to be able to do every one of these person's moves. So I'd literally just start every session.
buy
just
it
See,
off
that's the real mentality.
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly the same mentality that I had too.
Yeah.
It's like I like Bulua or Hai Lee and all those guys.
Or
When-
Emig.
Emig, same thing. I trained with Emig, so it was a little bit different. But those guys up north, I saw them see them do a move or attempt a move, and I'll be like, I got to get that guy's move. I got to get that guy's move throughout the whole entire thing. It's a lot different, and then plus your own flair for all that all those also. So
I don't know.
Speaking
What,
of flares, weren't you the first one to flare in tricking, really?
I don't know that move. That's at
he's breakdance fighting.
This guy's just
Yeah.
straight up breakdancing
I mean,
with punches.
Steve's like the godfather of tricking. Like,
Okay.
like no, seriously, you have moves named after you. Like, that's
Yeah.
so baller.
yeah.
And also, like, what you do
Terada
is
swipe,
what
right?
was so impressive about like the evolution of tricking and seeing you like come on the scene was how like you were innovating. You know what I mean? Nowadays, people just say, okay, there's a cork, I want a double cork or triple cork.
Yeah.
So they're like advancing, you know how, but you were like
Movement,
developing
different
moves.
movements. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
So-
not much foundation back then. So
Yeah.
then we had when I started out, there were just a handful of tricks, and then my coaches, which are like crazy, were like innovators of that time. And then they'd be like, hey, like Arnold Chan, when I was training with him for a few years, and he's coaching me, he's like, all right, do that, but then throw a hook kick after. I'm like, just wrecking myself over and over again. But I mean, like, I feel the internet has been great for tricking, but then also, it kind of hindered a lot of creativity because there's so much stuff out there where you don't get to develop your own style. You're always playing catch up instead of festering these moves by yourself for a month in between tournaments.
Speaking about creativity, I just want to just take it back really quick to sport karate. It's something I just was jogged. You guys naming all these people's names. Everyone's like learning moves from people. But I feel like even like in the sport karate competition, I feel like you people would like big thing we were talking about this earlier.
You people.
Hey, you people. By really just Steve.
Wow, you person.
No, like the idea we were talking before, like the idea of music, right? Like how music is really attached to certain competitors, and if someone else used that person's music, it was kind of like, ooh, why'd you do that?
You
And
pretty much weren't shit unless Rudy Raynon made your music.
basically, fresh songs.
I'm friends with him.
Or
I know who
was
he is.
it? Was Stephen Rennie and Jeremy?
I used music
Jeremy,
from Steven.
yeah.
Jerm,
You did?
right?
I did.
Yeah.
See.
I used Steven's music.
So back in the day when we would do our creative forms,
Music.
when they would do their creative forms, because I would just do remixes of like Mortal Kombat soundtrack.
Hey, also, hey, me
Jock
too.
jams.
Some of the sport karate guys would do like now I'm breaking the fourth wall. Some of the sport karate guys
Talk to
learned
us.
how to do music, and so they would. If you were cool, you could mix your music, and if you were really cool, you would pay either Rudy or Steve or Jeremy like $300 to make you a personalized song. Sometimes had like sound effects and stuff, and then actually Kim Do got really good at it too.
Kim was the,
Yeah.
Kim was the innovator kind of
Yeah.
that. Well, actually, Mike Chat had one of the first sound effect forms throughout the whole entire
Street Fighter,
tournament.
right?
Really?
Street Fighter,
Street
yeah.
Fighter. Yeah.
Oh crap!
It was a Street Fighter one, but then like
But Kim
Do
killed it with
came
Counter-Strike.
the Counter-Strike songs. I was like, damn, that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that's that year he
And-
smoked me
Yeah.
all year long.
and the first time I saw that form was at Golden Gate Nationals,
Yeah.
and I just remember them strobing the lights on the ground on the grand stage.
Yeah.
And they were like doof 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 doof,
Crushed
and then
it.
everything went black, and then it went counter terrorists win. And I was like, oh, that's nasty.
I'm curious. Do you guys remember songs that you used? Iconic song in one of your forms?
This is how we do.
What about your intro where you walk like this?
Montel Jordan
I am Jeremy
action.
Marinas.
No, I always did like weird old school R&B songs, which was funny. Or I would use the game.
Oh, nice.
Hated to love it, the underdogs. I was ghetto, dude. I was hood.
Do you remember your music?
Damn.
A
Yeah.
lot of
He goes like,
Mr.
"We're on."
Moss used to pick like a lot of like Van Halen songs, like
Yeah.
we will rock you for our team forms and stuff. The one song that I remember like for individual that I really loved was "Oh, I just died in your arms
Yeah.
tonight."
And
So
then
good.
there was like a trend to use like a remix of that song too later on. Like
Yeah.
Yours was
I
probably
remember
easy.
yours was like 1, 2, 3, fire!
Oh,
And she
yeah.
would mouth it out
yeah.
at the start.
It was one of the Mortal Kombat songs on the
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
soundtrack.
Man.
I'd look up and go fire, and then start that.
Yeah, I remember the first. I was telling you back there that the first form ever you saw you do was to Big in Japan. I remember that being
Yeah.
like so epic.
That was Arnold Chan gave me that music to do because I think originally he was gonna use it, but then he started getting into stunts during
Yeah.
those years and stopped competing. So he gave me that one, and then my next song was one of his songs, "We Are the World," and
We Are the
I did a
World? Oh,
remix
okay.
of that by 24/7, I think. And then I was like continuing that. I just kept on throwing throwbacks of. Like Carmichael Simon's old songs, and then like different ones like that.
also another thing Kim Do did that nobody else did was use Boyz II Men.
Oh,
yeah, he did
straight
it
up.
slow.
The slow song, right?
Yeah. Was it a
Season-
song
oh,
for
no,
Mama or something like that?
Which one was it? Was it
Or Four Seasons of
Seasons
Loneliness?
Was it remixed?
What an emo
Yeah.
boy.
I don't remember that one.
No, it was I think it's still on YouTube. It was
Yeah.
straight up just Boyz II Men hit play, and he did his form
He
too.
wore a white belt.
Yeah.
Was it
Did,
fast?
It was like
It was
I
super
long
slow.
for the warmth of days
wow.
gone by. Like
Yeah.
That's like.
it was what was crazy was everybody was actually down with it. It was like cool.
Yeah. I used a lot of just John Valera songs. So then everyone would look at a competition. Is John Valera performing? And like, who the hell is that fat fuck?
So you wanted people to be disappointed?
I didn't know that was a
Looks
thing.
like John.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm-
Same but different.
same, but not the same.
Jan Valera.
Hey, look, it's Jan Valera, the performing for Basca.
Basca.
But But yeah, I remember like 'cause I didn't know I was like a local competitor like you, but even way less than you. And
Like
not,
you?
and-
Whoa.
okay, sorry, not as good as you. So I would come there. The one tournament a year I'd go to, Battle of Atlanta, because I live in Atlanta, and I'd be like, oh cool, I found this song, which was me just watching Black and Blue videos of John Valera. Play the song, everyone turns their head when the speaker plays. I'm like, why is everyone watching me? And then they're like, oh, that's embarrassing.
Did you not know it was John's music?
I did, but I didn't know that was a thing where it's like
Don't use
they
it.
own
You
it.
can't use other people's music,
No,
or else
dude.
everybody in the stadium would be like,
They did, and they were just Jan Valera was there, and they were all disappointed. Jan Valera. So sport karate. I want to talk a little bit about how that translates or tricking into like film. Like, what is your guys' journeys individually from going from, hey, I'm at a ballroom doing gainers on a flip phone to now being a John
Mini disc
Wick.
player.
Yeah.
well, for me, I just happened to be actually in Kim Do's audition tape. They were looking for a double for Ninja Assassin for Rain.
Yeah.
And then John Valera, who's part of 8711, also was an ASCA legend. So he called Kim Do, said, send us an audition tape. And then Kim Do looked at me and Anise and went, and I think he thought I wasn't a threat. So he was like, you should do it. Because back then, Anise was 10 times better than me at martial arts just in general. And so he used me as a part of his audition tape. They made us do a bunch of different fights. They made us do like wushu. They made us do falls. And basically, from what I know, Chad, the owner of 87, goes, who's that guy? And then John Valera was like, oh, I think that guy is Jeremy. And he's like, bring him to me. And then, so that's short story of Ballroom Gainers
Ballroom
to
to-
movie.
See, the
So
funny
nice.
thing about like John asking Kim to do that, my redemption story from the Kim Do thing, like John hit me up to ask for referrals for tall people for that double, and I referred him to that. So,
Oh, there you go.
So without Steve
clear.
Terada, Jeremy wouldn't be on 8711, and there would be no
know about that,
John
but-
Wick 4 for me.
Yeah. Wow. Steve is just the Godfather.
hey, I'm just trying to my redemption story after that little.
Can we also just talk
young-
about
young-
how Jeremy is like
young
one of
and
the
stupid.
few guys on the circuit or in the scene that had a stage, like a street name for himself.
Oh, I know this. You have
I didn't give it to myself.
You have an alias?
I thought
Yeah.
this was gonna come up
Oh,
earlier
and there was a
when he said
website,
it.
and he had a little bio.
Dude, they're,
He
they're
called-
roasting you right now.
He
so.
called himself the Prodigy.
I didn't call myself anything.
Yeah, but you know, like when back in the day we had like Flash websites,
Yeah.
and he was part of IMC, and they had a rap song too that was like playing.
My teacher wanted to be a rapper.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
when I was 13 years old, he made my first sampler in, the Bylang website.
Yeah.
Before YouTube, you had to submit your video, and this guy Billy from Germany would, if he thought your video was good enough, he'd host it on his site
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
had to pay for bandwidth, right? 56K. Yeah, old people joke. So I guess my name would come up as Prodigy Marinas because my teacher submitted me as Prodigy Marinas.
So he named you.
He named me
Okay,
because
that's fine.
everybody in
That's
our
fine.
karate school had a nickname, but he came up to me one day and was like, do you know what prodigy means? And I was like, no.
What that
Look it up. And then he submitted my video, and that's where it was. And now everybody thinks I called myself Prodigy.
I mean, it was pretty convincing in the bio. It was like Prodigy, the ability to watch one move one time and execute it perfectly on the first try.
My name was Jeremy
You
the
write
Prodigy.
Prodigy in all
Marinas.
your samplers?
I was like Prodigy. And it was like,
Wow, man.
I'm so embarrassed.
Did
man,
you?
that rap was catchy though. I mean,
No, it was not. Because at 13, I was like, this is cool. My teacher can rap. And now I rewatch my samplers from a long time ago, and I'm like, this is terrible. Like the music was terrible, right? And then it was just, or it wasn't terrible. It was just lame.
Yeah.
Can you please play the rap song?
Insert link down below and check out the Prodigy
I was
Flash
13, man.
page. Gemma,
this is the introduction.
God damn it.
how did you make the transition? What was your story?
So I performed for the last time, or competed for the last time in 2005. And I was 17 at the time. I just graduated high school.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to see where this can take me. And a lot, like, there's so many legends that came before me that transitioned into stunts. John Valera, you know, all these different guys, Ming,
Arnold.
yeah, the list goes on. But I decided to move to California to pursue it, and it was a rude awakening for sure, transitioning to stunts. There's some jobs that are like, okay, it's easy to transition, like transfer the skills of martial arts into like sport karate into like a fight, but a lot of times it's like you got to dirty it up. You got to, you know, and you spend your whole life basically, my whole life training like your form and your technique, and then now they're like it's too clean. You know, so I'm still learning. There's so much to learn still.
It looks too choreographed.
It looks, it looks too neat. So, but yeah, I've done all kinds of gigs, you know, trying to get my foot in the door. And I remember one time I saw you at an audition. Do you remember that Kia Soul
You guys
commercial?
auditioned for the same
Kia
thing?
Soul.
Do you remember? It was like
Yeah, it was
you
a
and the
hype
Quest
group
guys
thing.
were there. And this is the funniest story, you guys. I showed up for this Kia, because I used to be represented by a dance agency. And they used to send me on dance auditions. It would used to piss me the fuck off. 'Cause I'm not a dancer, but I was like part of the specialty division.
Were you with Block?
Yeah.
That's why.
Everyone, they signed it.
Block and Clear.
I was with
And
Block,
I
yeah.
showed up for this Kia Soul commercial. If you guys remember, there used to be like the hamsters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
You were a mocap
you-
hamster?
no, okay.
You were a mocap
Listen, this is
hamster?
probably the worst like audition I ever had to do. I was like, there goes my integrity. But I show up to the thing, and they make you wear this like overall suit with a fat like hamster body, but it was made for like someone like between 5'1" and like 5'5", and I'm 4'8". So the stomach touched the ground. So, and I'm in this like overall like hamster suit, and they were like, and this is around the time when LMFAO was really popular. So they're like, all right, we want you to shuffle. They would play the LMFAO song, and I'm holding the stomach off the ground, trying to pretend to shuffle because I'm not a dancer.
Yeah.
Like, and all like the dancers of the industry were like there, and I was auditioning. It was mortifying.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a journey. I'm sure you guys have interesting stories too of jobs you have to do that like are just.
Well, I know Steve has one. If you're the prodigy, he also has an alias. But we'll talk about that another
Star
time.
Wars.
No.
How did you make the transition?
Well, I'm born and raised in LA, so when I started training at LA Valley College when I was like 11, and during that time there were some legends there, and I didn't even really
Zero
know.
Gravity would be there.
Zero Gravity.
Yeah.
Lateef
Created,
Crowder.
Phil Ted, Andy Chang was training there. There was like Mitch Gold and a whole bunch of, you know, like every single stunt person ran through there. John Valera, Arnold. I was training with Arnold Chan there for a while. So it's like I kind of grew up into it and just started, once I turned 18, I got called to do Memoirs of a Geisha.
Guy on bike.
Yeah, boy on bike. Look at Zhang Ziyi, and then crash my bike into some rickshaw.
What was the audition for that?
That was because they wanted to find an actual Japanese person to be in that movie, and that looked young. And there weren't that many young-looking Japanese stunt people during that time. So I did a few, bike runs to show that I could crash in and stuff and not look stupid and not kill myself. Did that, and then just ended up being a really good first gig. It was like a half a mile from my
That's
place.
an awesome first gig.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
pretty cool.
got to sit in the
Because she
makeup
was
chair.
hot then too, like meaning she was hot on the scene. Like everybody loved Zhang Ziyi, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
It was
like
a
her
huge film.
prime.
Yeah,
Like, it was
yeah.
a big
Rush
deal
Hour?
when it
Yeah,
came out.
yeah, it was right
Rush Hour?
after Rush
Rush Hour,
Hour,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
I remember being like, you know, I was like Steve Terada's the best, and I saw that trailer,
could
and
do
I was like
that?
Steve Terada.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that too. I was like, huh? Big in Japan guy? What?
yeah. That was my first SAG gig.
So you got tapped hard.
Got
for that.
tapped
Yeah.
it on it. Got to sit in a makeup chair next to Michelle Yeoh.
Whoa.
And she was all talking to me. I was like, oh crap! I've only seen you like on freaking Super Cop and all this other stuff. I was super nervous, but she's awesome. I'm so freaking jealous about it. Like,
Oh, yeah,
all
tell us a little about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh is a class act. She's awesome. Her and Jamie Lee Curtis were amazing to work with.
Yeah.
And it's just cool. Like you said, you grow up watching their films and stuff and getting to work alongside them. You're like, oh, this is why you're the best. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, she just took direction so well, and she's just so in it all the time. It was just really inspiring to watch
Yeah.
her work.
Did you have one of those moments? What was the first celebrity that you were kind of like, oh gosh, oh, I'm becoming Steve Terada right now. Oh god. Oh god. I'm thinking, oh.
You know what? When I first started, I was like too cool to be starstruck. Because
Yeah.
I thought I was.
You were the prodigy. Who
I
would
didn't,
be?
I didn't want to. I was always like, yeah, I don't get starstruck. But then I did get starstruck around like karate people.
Yeah.
So, and I met all those people that I looked up to already. So, when I got into the biz, and I met big actors, I didn't really appreciate it. Like on my second movie, I helped Robert De Niro train. My second movie ever in Australia.
What was that
and
for?
It was a film called Killer Elite.
Love it.
And not until I left the job was I like, oh, that was Robert De Niro. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I didn't appreciate it. I think because more when I first started, I was like strictly a karate nerd. I didn't really give a shit about film.
Yeah.
And then when I got the film bug, I started looking back on all the names that I worked with, and that's when I started getting starstruck. And then, last year when I got the chance to second unit direct my first full run with Jason Statham, that was a cool thing because the first thing I ever did in LA was be Jason Statham's beat up dummy for like 9 months. Like I literally woke up every day and got beat up by Jason Statham for 9 months. That was my introduction to stunts.
That seems healthy.
And then I was his training dummy. And then last year he called me and was like, "Hey mate, you want to do my film?" And then
What was that like?
One more time.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna.
Hi, mate. Want to do my film?
Hey, bruv.
There it is.
No, it was kind of cool. So like, I guess those appreciation moments came a little bit later when I started, appreciating because before it was just work.
Yeah.
It was just cool that I get to do karate on film. And then I realized, oh, I worked with Hugh Jackman. Oh, I worked with, Statham and Momoa and just all the names, right? And now and Reeves,
Name dropping.
so. Yeah, that
Too
was
many.
a bit, that was like the big moment like that
Yeah.
came way later.
Later, yeah.
And I think that was just my ignorance.
I'd love to know actually what was a big like Hollywood moment for you? Like what was a big like wow, I made it, Mom. I did it.
Oh, that's tough. There's I feel like too many to count, but I guess my most recent one, because I have a terrible memory, would probably be Everything Everywhere all at once.
Wow.
Nice.
Getting to work with Michelle Yeoh, one of my heroes, getting to work with my friends, the Marshall Club, and because I love action comedy, and so I grew up on like the Stephen Chow movies, Kung Pao,
Yeah.
I love that whole genre, and so getting to like watch them work, but also be wielding like dildo nunchucks and all kinds of funny props, and it was just, and then like watching the guys like fighting with like butt plugs tied to, attached to their butts, and it was just like a
Classic.
Hollywood moment, but also
Butt plugs.
a hole.
Yes.
Yes. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
I just want to go back to sport karate a little bit. Steve, you're a part of probably the most revered team.
It's a scary name. Get ready.
It was like,
What was it called?
if you made this team, you were the top of the top. It was called Team Paul Mitchell, right? Who knew Paul Mitchell had the hair company?
a shampoo company.
The shampoo company had the top martial
Lord.
arts company. So why didn't you have Gemma on the team?
Yeah, tell us why. She was a champion, like what, 1,800-time champion?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was.
You were just saving the spot for
was-
Caitlin Michelle.
Caitlin, you
Yeah,
were saving-
pretty much. Pretty much. We were like, all our spots are filled. I was one of the few juniors that went to adult, and then who was on the team during that time?
I'm
trying to
Rudy,
think.
David
No,
Douglas.
but for like
John
females,
Vla-
we had Casey Marks.
Casey Marks.
Lauren.
Was
Lauren
Wayne Douglas
Kearney.
on?
Wayne Douglas, he's
Yeah.
Bang.
He was
Also
on
a
it
good
way before
filmmaker
me,
and stunt
too.
guy.
Oh, he was?
yeah.
He was shorter
Wayne,
than you when he started.
Wayne was on it before, yeah. He was the OG.
And he was hardcore. I remember every finals he would have no voice
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
screaming so
Him and Casey
loud.
Marks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
crazy.
There just
They
wasn't
were
a
the
roster spot
Bowmasters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
during that time.
Funny story, actually. So yeah, Paul Mitchell was like the cream of the crop,
Yeah.
right? Like so random too. Like you're saying, it's like a
Hair company. Wait.
But and I don't know what like the sponsorship was like. I mean, I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it.
Do they just like
but
basically pay for your trips? Is that essentially what it is?
Yeah, we had sponsored tournaments, everything paid for.
Didn't they have
$100.
tiers? They had tiers though, right?
Nah.
Really? That
Everyone
was not what
gets
I was
thrown out.
told.
It might have changed.
Oh,
or I didn't
man.
know about it. But they paid for any division, even if I wanted to do point sparring, which I did a couple times. But did that, do whatever divisions, and then yeah.
Wow,
Okay.
that was not what I was told.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
when I wasn't approached, but my coach was at the time when I was like kind of like starting to win tournaments,
Okay.
and he relayed the information to me after the fact, and I was like, well, great, I would have loved to have been a part of the conversation, but I guess they approached him at some point, and he had asked them about like what the sponsorship would look like, and at the time they weren't offering to sponsor like flights,
full
full
sponsorship.
sponsorship, which Mr. Lee, Charlie Lee, was doing for me.
Yeah.
So he had told me he had already said no, but he was
So
like,
you
I'm just
missed
letting
your-
you know
missed
after
your
the
chance to
fact.
be
It
on
might have been
Paul
because you were
Mitchell.
a junior then. During
Oh,
that time,
maybe.
right?
Yeah,
So-
but
So there were
But-
no tiers, only tears.
yes, just these kind of tears.
All right,
Hey, but you
Filipino
were on
uncle.
Pro rank and Charlie Lee.
Yeah.
All my friends were on pro rank, so I was mostly hanging out with them anyway.
That's true. I got in trouble one time for wearing a pro rank shirt in a sampler. Because I thought Pro Rank was the coolest team because they had that cool Asian symbol, and back
Yeah.
then it was cool to have Asian symbol on like things
Yeah.
like shirts. And they had like an Asian symbol as their logo.
Yeah.
And then I became good friends with Anise, I think. I think he always kind of like hated me but loved me at the same time. Anyways, I borrowed his pro rank shirt because it was the coolest shirt, and I wore it in a sampler. And then Anise called me the next day and was like, "Yeah, you're not allowed to wear that." I was like, "Why?" And then apparently somebody's dad who owned pro rank was like, "She's not pro rank. She shouldn't wear the shirt."
But weren't they
And,
selling the shirts
whatever.
though? So like anyone could wear it.
I don't know. I was a bad representative apparently of the team, so I couldn't wear the shirt, and
Oh.
because I wasn't on the team.
You can't sit with us.
See? Tears for Gemma, tears for Jeremy. So you didn't let her on the team, but then you trained her.
Yeah, for a very short time.
All right, and Mindy, did you guys do team forms at one point? You and Mindy?
Yes.
Yeah,
we were
Mindy.
on pro
I
rank.
don't even remember seeing that. You guys.
It was like really short. It was
Yeah.
like maybe we did it for like U.S. Open and maybe like 2 other tournaments.
Yeah, I didn't help with that one.
Yeah.
So what did you train? Like, what do you mean by you trained her? What
we
specifically?
were
you
together
train
for
her
a
in
summer
the-
for some reason.
Yeah, you came out to LA because you were in Virginia, right? Mm-hmm. So she came out to go train with me at LA Valley, same place where we always train. And then, yeah, I put her through like the Arnold Chan doing sections till you throw up routine.
Jeez.
And then just randomly told her to do tricks with extra kicks.
Well, not yet. She didn't even make it to that tier yet because
All these tears.
Steve Terada and
we
his
made it.
tears. The
I
Terada
just,
tears.
it was
So
more for,
Gemma,
like,
you were just
cardio.
never good enough
Yeah.
for Steve.
Sorry, Steve, for disappointing you.
Hey, no.
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
It was a cardio issue, okay? So yeah, she just went as far as she wanted to, and then she'd fall on the ground and act like she was injured, and be like, oh. And then I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna have to call your mom or your aunt.
Mom or your
or friend.
Okay, defend yourself.
Dude, you were
Because I remember a different time.
a different one.
Yeah, when you were
No,
like.
I remember that specifically because
Oh.
because you were like because her reaction was so great because she'd be like, oh, I was like, I knew that she was faking it for one.
What a great
She
actress.
was like, oh. I was like, I'm gonna have to call them, and then she goes like this. And then she'd get up and then do like a half-ass section, get pissed, and I just keep on like yelling at her until she like did it. But she kept on like playing dead like possum
like a dog.
all the time. I'm like, you're the worst.
Do you remember this as a kid?
I remember the time when we were, was it Atlanta?
Deflected.
We were like, there was like a pro rank camp or something. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And like you were having me and Mindy try different tricks and stuff. And I remember that because I would, at the time, like, even now I feel like, I don't like being vulnerable at looking bad. So like trying new tricks was like hard for me because I was like, oh, I don't want to like eat shit in front of like all these people that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, my fellow competitors, and I didn't want to look bad. So I would like try it a couple times and like be like, nah, I'm good, and you'd be like, you're lazy.
Yeah, it's it. I mean, maybe I took it as that. It's just a different mentality. You don't do tricks and then break your knee and then have to retire.
I like to do all the ugly work like behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like eating shit like by myself.
Yeah.
That is more common than you think. I think that. True. Yeah, that not like especially when you're like revered as like a champion already.
Yeah.
But I knew.
What?
The classic Gemma dog.
Well, the thing was, I was really hardworking growing up when I first was like, okay, I want to get to number 1. But once I was already number 1, like, and you came on the scene like hard too. So you were ahead of the curve for a long time, like I was, you know, and so, you know, I was training really hard to get to number 1. And once I was number 1, I stayed there for a little while. So then I got kind of lazy a little bit, and then like Caitlin Deschelle started winning, and I was like, oh fuck.
The spark.
Yeah. Hey, that happens, and like the fire.
That's my question. So before you started competing and you had like healthy competition, who was the guy you were watching before you got on the scene?
Ooh,
that
that'd be
you
good
were
for
like,
everyone. Huh?
I need to get like that is the epitome of what I'm trying to get to.
Oh,
and you too.
Jimmy Pham for sure.
I love that guy.
Goodness
when I was
gracious,
a kid,
great balls
oh
of
my
fire.
God. Yeah, that specific form. I remember going to Vegas as a kid and then seeing Jimmy Pham and like Minglu, like
he taught
freaking
me a
kill
butterfly twist. And he did a seminar at my school in San Jose, and he called it a barrel roll.
Yup, they were barrel rolls back in the day.
Way back in the day. Before
Way back
And they were like super baller if you could throw that in your form. I remember the first time I saw
And he did it to
that.
the splits.
Yes.
And then he flipped it up.
Yup.
Jimmy Pham was probably, when I think about like my competitive career, that was my biggest accomplishment. Because back in the day,
Jimmy Pham was your biggest accomplishment.
it sounds,
I created. He is my son. Jimmy, you're here. He's like here. Jimmy.
No, back then, boys and girls hadn't been separated yet.
Oh.
So the 17 and under division for grands, we should probably explain how the tournaments used to go. So on like Friday or Saturday, you do individual competitions. If you won that, then you had to go into a runoff of all the other first place winners, and the top 3 get to go to finals.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's when you compete for grands. And so 17 and under grands, it used to be boys and girls. So Jimmy was 17 at the time, and I was, I think, like, I forget how far apart we were. It was like 13, 14 or something. Like, it was young, 12, 13.
Yeah.
And it was the last year he was going to be underage. Because next year he was going to go to adult, and I wouldn't have a chance to compete against him for many, many years, which he ended up retiring soon after that anyway.
Yeah.
And it was Bluegrass Nationals. I finally beat him, and it was like one of the most just defining moments of my career. I remember that was like the one person I really wanted to beat, and then I got lazy after that.
You know, no big.
I never got to beat Jimmy Pham, so kudos.
No biggie. Just beating Steve Terada's inspiration and the guy who taught Jeremy. Yeah, no biggie.
It was the wink,
great.
bro.
Yeah,
it was the wink.
Like
The winks.
I always obviously John Valera, but for you, I know you were tricking, but also kind of competing. So who was someone that you were kind of watching?
Well, it was Valera for martial arts and sport karate, Steve for tricking, and then pretty much the OGs like Anthony Atkins. Watching Jimmy Pham, especially after he trained me. Oh, and Matt Imig after watching the very first XKC Extreme XTC Extreme Tricks contest. Yeah. No, back then it was Extreme Kicks contest. Yeah. So back in 2002, the first time I watched an Extreme Kicks contest had Steve Terada. You're in the seniors though, not the juniors.
Oh, for France.
France.
Ah, French Open, yes.
Yeah. Because this is like
and juniors.
Because I didn't even know Anise was in there until like way later.
Those
Imig
tournaments
was
were crazy.
Shit.
So.
Yeah,
Imig was a killer.
And then you lost to Kalman when he did 1,000,000.
I always lose to Kalman. I never beat Kalman once in a trip.
That was my instructor, Kalman Choka.
Yeah, well, I was pissed because he did like 4 or 5 full twists in a row, and I was like 11, and I was like, he didn't even throw a kick. It's called Extreme Kicks Contest. And I was already bitter at people because you didn't win.
Already.
No, Calvin, you're
Yeah.
a champion.
Yeah.
Thank you for teaching me.
Yeah.
No, well, Kalman was the innovator of all like the twists and stuff, and that was new during that time.
Yeah.
So there weren't that many twist
And he
moves.
did double leg
stuff.
twist,
He did double
right?
leg
And
twist.
double
he did
sword.
A
It
bunch of
was
stuff.
crazy. Double sword.
Yeah, but I always lost to him every single tricks contest.
Yeah.
every one. So
So
It
crazy.
was a killer comp.
So you guys brought up Matt Emig. This is interesting. Like I was just thinking about like sport karate or like tricking, even movements in film, and I was like, I'm an outsider. So I remember one time watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the remake, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know who the stunt people were. I was like, oh, I'm just watching this as just a fan, and I started seeing the nunchucks and even the way they were tricking. I was like, this looks
Is
very.
this the first one or the second one?
I forgot.
Because you're about to bring up some drama.
Ooh. Yeah, let's
Spill
do
the
it.
tea.
Oh, me.
Wait, but basically, I'm just curious. Like watching that, I was like, no way, they're using. That was the first time I realized they're using sport karate people in all these movies. Because like, why are they tricking like that, doing passes?
I thought you were
and then
going to say
nunchuck?
it looked exactly like Matt.
Oh no, I'm just like, I just saw the nunchuck. I was like, I know those moves. The certain
Was it?
moves he does in forms, and you guys talked about like people move
Yeah.
a certain way, and you can kind of copy it if you really study it.
Yeah.
So like, how do you guys feel about like, sport karate, those kind of movements, tricking in film now? Like, what's the future of that? Is it kind of like, it's gonna top out at a certain point?
Well, they just turned it into superhero stuff, right? So, I mean, there's no ceiling there until they just decide to stop making superhero movies. But when we started, it was like martial arts just done really well. And then it evolved to like extreme martial arts. And then it got really adapted into the film world. And then it just became really crazy martial arts. And then now it's just superhero martial arts. So if you're on set now and you do like a cork, they're like, we don't want it too supernatural. We're like, it's not supernatural. There's 11-year-olds doing this on the playground now.
Yeah.
It's like normal now. But they still revere it as a like superhero thing.
Yeah.
And then, like even the 3-point stance, I was always bitter about that because they called, like a lot of people would call it the Iron Man pose or superhero pose. And I'm like, dude, I can pull up videos right now of Anthony Atkins doing that in like 96.
That was everyone's favorite thing to do. Is like
yeah.
go back to your spot after you introduce yourself, do a flip, and then land in that.
Yeah, but I mean, the big secret about the superhero pose is it's easier to land like that than to land on your feet.
To stick it.
So
Oh.
when you watch it in movies and people do a 3-point superhero pose and they stand up all dramatically, that was just because they did it in sport karate.
Yeah.
And it looked cool, but they only did it because it was easier to land like that than to land on your feet and not get the wobbles.
Yeah.
Well, also
right?
a little bit of drama.
A little bit of drama, a little bit of
it's
style.
showmanship.
Same thing. It's
Yeah.
Well, when it
there
first
at the
came out, it
start,
was cool and
like, what's
drama,
he gonna do?
but it became a trend, though. It became a
It did.
trend because people realized it was easier.
It's a big pet
I
peeve
feel
of
it.
mine. Not all superhero poses are done correctly.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
I
it
feel like there's some
shows.
tension behind your eyes.
Yeah.
It shows.
She's like, back me up,
I'm
Jeremy.
like, dude, sometimes I'll do like this and put this hand down, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah, they put the knee that's up. They put that.
Yeah.
It's got to be opposite.
Ouch.
Like, how often do you, obviously, Kickmaster, how often have you seen like multiple kicks in film or TV? Like, have you been asked to do that a bunch?
I got to do that when I played
Cut to
Chun-Li
her
for
reel
the.
right
Cut
now.
to her reel,
It's
Chun-Li.
Everything she's ever done.
I got to do that for Chun-Li for
Yeah.
Power Rangers Legacy Wars, but
You
and
did
then, like a
a
couple
short
other
film
thing.
for
I did
Arthur?
it for Arthur. Yeah, the Arthur thing. I
Os
got to
Arthur.
do.
Yeah, check it out.
Check it out down below. I haven't really had a chance to do a lot of multiple kick stuff
Yeah.
aside from like people who know that I do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What's funny is the thing I use tricking for the most is to fall down. So right,
Right.
like
Yeah,
so, the more awareness you have in being able to throw tricks, now you have to dirty them up and fall. So like for martial arts, you're supposed to never show pain and you're supposed to never react. But now you become a stuntman, you have to make a big reaction and you have to telegraph all your moves. You got to dirty up. And then for tricking, your whole life you're training not to fall. And now they're like, hey, you're a stuntman now. What's that one crazy trick you do? Yeah, do it and fall on your face. And it's
Yeah.
like, that's like, for me, it's always doing the opposite of what you train your whole life to do. And that's probably why I train the most, like, it's probably why I train so hard now all the time, is because I never wanted to lose the martial arts that I trained all my life to do. So I didn't want to just end up being, another stunt guy who hangs out and only trains when it's time for a job.
And then, you know, a lot of these guys, they just forget their martial arts, you know what I mean, after being in the business for so long.
How has sport karate been like? Has it prepped you for stunts, or how has it like been a weakness for you?
Ooh, it's
Like for me, it was really hard because like you train your whole life to do a form, and everything has to stick because like you do a trick and you has to land like very solid. You can't like wobble. And in stunts, like a lot of times you have to keep it alive, right? You have to like keep it moving. You can't like just like be like throw a trick and then rigid like this.
Yeah.
So that was really hard for me. But as far as like the endurance aspect of it, like
Yeah.
having to, like, because sometimes you could be sitting forever waiting for your division to start, and sometimes it'd
Yeah.
be delayed for hours,
Yeah.
and you'd be like, all right, it's time to go, and then you gotta like get up and do it. So that's
kinda the
helped me a
same
lot
on-
in stunts.
on set.
Yeah, like sometimes you'll be waiting all day to shoot, and you're
That's
like,
true.
oh, you're up, let's go. You know what I mean? So that really helped, but.
Yeah, that mental aspect of the anticipation to compete helped a lot because of that specific thing. It's like you can go down and like focus on your own and get hyped up for it. Because usually you have to be like a thug or like you have to get amped up to do something.
Yes.
So it's very similar prep. So that's always helped a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it helped that I love to do sport karate on my own, but I never got sponsored and traveled and competed as much as these guys did. If anything, I fought more than I did. So I think it helped that I didn't bake these movements into my martial art, like my movement as much as you guys did. Because, you know, habits are hard to break. So when you train your body to, you know, have this certain snap all your life, you know what I mean? I was full contact fighting, like where you didn't have to hold anything. I was doing that like in high school. So I was like, they were signing me up at 14 saying I was 18 just because I was kind of dull
that's
at my
legal.
age.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they didn't know, but I was fighting, and so I didn't have to worry about sticking it as much.
Yeah.
But I did that more than I did
Yeah.
actual sport karate. So actually, being able to relate to you guys and understand that side of the performance helped. But also, it helped that I didn't get as baked into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that way, it pays to suck because
Because I could get other jobs.
I'm like messy, right? My style is kind of messy.
I mean, that's a great thing to bring up, actually. Is you said your style's pretty messy. I think you're great. I think you guys are all great. I'd love to actually do something to end this. And maybe I'd love to. Why are you getting all so sad? Why?
Like we're done.
No.
What is this?
Oh god.
So I actually want to take it back to maybe the sport karate days. I'd love for us to be judges, you three to be judges for each other.
Oh, God.
And rank your score at the.
Why is my video up first?
We'll go. All right, relax, dude. We'll go second. You'll have you go second. Look how
I'm
panicked.
such
Jeremy.
a biased judge.
Judges, my name is Prodigy,
Actually,
representing Loop Kicks.
This is the introduction.
and also I am the future. Jeremy Marinas.
Wow.
Actually, I would love to. Before we do, can I get everyone's sport karate intro?
Oh my god.
Take your time. Really, give me some acting
No.
in it.
No.
Come on, we're gonna hear it in 4 seconds. You might as well
Okay,
do that.
then show the video.
All right, can I
That's
hear
so
your guys?
embarrassing.
It's not. It's real.
If we do our introductions, you have to do a flash kick right now.
Duh, I can't.
See, I can't. I forgot. You saw me talking.
All right, we'll start with this video here. All right, I don't know whose video this
Never
is.
I was like mouthing
Yeah.
out just now. I was like,
I'll do Kim Do's.
Been a minute.
My name is Kim. I will now begin.
Gemma, do you know
That was
yours?
so
What's your? You don't have to.
gangster.
Yeah,
What is yours?
mine was judges representing Team Charlie Karate. I am Gemma Nguyen. Permission to begin. Thank you, judges.
Nice.
very similar.
Steve?
Mine was judges representing Team Paul Mitchell. My name is Steve Terada. With your permission, I will begin.
Ooh, he asked her
Walk back.
permission. I like that one. All right.
Wow.
Feel free to talk during this. Gemma, can you explain what is this? Like what year?
How tall were you there?
Same height. This must be like 2000, 1999,
No.
2000.
There's a
No,
classic.
this is
Close.
98 because I have this video.
All right. What
Yeah.
a creeper.
Pretty sure.
See, it has to land. Everything has to be solid. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Yeah, the Hadouken.
Dude, you were
yeah.
so clean. That
See,
was good.
everything had
Well,
to
you-
stick. Like,
Bam.
you couldn't wobble.
Bam.
I remember Charlie team forms were
And
crazy.
wink.
There. Oh,
I already
he
did that. I
knew.
already did that.
Oh no, the wink! This is when
Look at that foot position.
Dang.
And a little
Oh,
higher.
a little higher.
It's like,
this.
and split. Ooh,
Hey.
no hands.
Dude, I saw Ming Lu do that, and I was like, I want to try that. And then I bruised my knee every tournament because you only got mats when you were on
Wow.
stage.
Yeah.
Other times it was concrete with like
Yeah.
a thin ass
Yeah.
like
Not-
carpet.
Not even there was like New England Open where it was just tape on concrete.
Yeah.
And we're,
Yeah, and
Or in Capital
my
Classic,
knee
it was
would
like
be
that,
so
too.
banged up every
Yeah.
tournament.
And then
That was the
like
lure.
some of the regional tournaments would just be the basketball gym floor.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. It was
That's-
I would have rather had
That
that.
and the concrete, dude.
the concrete, cold concrete.
But
was
IMC,
terrible.
my karate school, was concrete with carpet. So
Hell
we
yeah.
didn't have a gym floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I
But
learned
that's how
Snappy
that's
Swipe.
how you can do all your stuff
Well,
on
that's-
concrete.
That's how I learned Snappy
Ah.
Swipe.
Dang.
I learned it on concrete carpet.
That's healthy.
Dang, that's pretty gangster.
And I thought
Dude.
about you every time.
Charlie Lee Nationals.
Charlie, boys forms.
That's a weird thing to say.
Ooh! Oh, there goes
See?
the stance without the hand though. That's just the two.
See, that's
Yeah.
harder. Because that meant you had balance.
This is Paul Mitchell already?
This is my first year on Paul
And you
Mitchell.
know, I used to wear a little sweatband on my
Yeah.
wrist because of you.
Yeah, it's because when you spin, you get that little ring
yeah.
action.
Oh.
No, I swear to God, I did it. But I didn't want to completely copy you, so I only did my left hand.
See, that's how it is. Variations.
Dude,
You
I
already
remember
got
that
it.
freaking.
See, watching your guys' era, it was, like you said, style. That was so much style.
Yeah.
Now it's just, yeah, it's just.
It's because we only had one tournament a month, and not many people videoed, so you had to do it by memory, and your memory sucks. So,
Let's
so
talk
we just
about
ended
how
up doing
Steve
that.
Terada went to Korea, taught everybody how to trick, and then they claimed like they created all of the tricks.
Language barrier, I guess.
I'm still bitter about it.
Hey, I mean, that was
Dude,
pretty crazy.
That
that
move, that
was
was your,
nuts.
that was a.
Hey, that
Right.
came back. I just saw that on TikTok. It's a new trend.
Could you explain it for everyone? The Terada.
No, it wasn't even mine.
It wasn't.
Well, I mean, okay, so first time I ever saw anyone switch was Arnold, and I was training with him during that time. But since I liked doing flash kicks and landing my right leg, I just did an extra one, so it was like doing
I remember
triple.
seeing it for the first
there.
time and
Let's
being
just
like,
add
That-
another
that's how it happens. Though.
he's walking upside down.
Dude, I mean, like most of the tricks were I didn't have playback or like videoing myself during that time because there wasn't the technology. That sounds so
Oh
old.
my
but,
God.
I remember.
But yeah, so you just do it by feeling.
Can you just play one of Rudy's forms and say that was me?
No.
Dude,
Guys.
I remember asking him the
Rudy.
secret about why he could jump so high. Do you remember telling me at LA Valley?
It's because his calves are bigger than his
Freaking
thighs.
Arnold used to make him wear like weights on your ankles or something, right? And like mess up your
Okay,
knees.
is there something you need to
But
tell
a
us
little
about
bit.
Arnold from when you were a kid?
Oh man, no. From when I was a
Not
kid.
even a little bit?
I mean, he was crazy, dude. I threw up so many times training with that dude because we would go
He's
back
the
and
world's
forth.
fastest man.
That's all. It was everything was for how fast you were doing it and punching fast and cardio.
Yeah.
So I mean that's how he
He was
trains
he was
everybody.
the Sammy V of the generation before.
Yeah.
He's like so fast.
Well, here's the prodigy of your guys' generation.
Yes, saving the best
Or-
for last.
this is
Doing,
the worst.
Oh my
so
God.
doing the Arnold Chan look.
Luckily,
Dude, you look
you
like
guys
James Solis, dude.
you guys you guys were already retired at this point.
Dang, dude.
We thought we were so cool because
Prodigy monk.
Ooh.
Oh my
Clean,
Okay,
clean,
okay,
clean.
that's
With
clean.
the loop kicks uniform.
Oh.
Oh.
Scoot step over. Dang.
so weak.
And
And I made this up just before
Oh,
we
that
went
was
out.
cool.
So
I love the angles on that.
hella sloppy hook kick.
Yeah.
You stayed in the square. That's all that
He
matters.
stayed in the square.
That's all that matters, man.
Yeah, and then I wanted to be different, but you can't tell in the profile, but it was an X out flash.
Hey.
And it looked like I buckled my knee.
And I did.
Hella sloppy jump front kick. And then
So, okay, guys.
I got so much shit for this. When everybody does a kip up, they always put their feet together first.
Yeah.
I did not. And I got so much shit for that for so
For
long.
having good
Look at
mobility.
that cockiness. It's the cockiness for
No,
me at the end.
and then the
Hey,
reason
dude.
the reason
Yeah.
I made that face was because Danny Graham called me. He used to call me Taz. That was
Yeah.
my like behind the scenes nickname. So I would do the Taz face. So like everybody thought I was cocky, but I was just like blowing a kiss to one of my best friends. I was like, Taz. He's like, you're like a little brown thing that eats everything all the time. Because they would make fun of me for going to McDonald's all the time.
Oh, I thought it was your Filipino.
No, he called me Taz. He's like, you can combo for days,
Daniel
but you
Graham
eat
called you a
everything.
little brown thing.
The little brown thing.
It was all love, though.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah, that was good.
Graham.
I didn't get to really watch
Wait.
you perform a lot because
Oh,
you
that
came
was a-
after
but
me.
then samplers.
I just remember this.
So many samplers.
Yes.
In one of your forms, you did like a.
I've been doing secret sections lately.
Oh, prove it.
It's been getting better.
All right, I think we should end
Can't
this.
rush greatness.
I think we should end this with you and I doing rapid fire questions to them.
Okay.
All right,
God.
I'll go first. Here we go. What is your favorite action movie?
Oh God, that's hard. Kung Fu Hustle.
Surf Ninjas.
Yeah.
Reyes Jr., bro.
That's your
He's
people.
crazy.
NASCAR Circuit Crush. Go.
Oh my
NASCAR
Circuit Crush, go.
Yeah, everybody had one.
Did I?
Yeah, and since I said mine.
Yeah, we both said we said
Let's
Gemma.
go.
I had an NBL when I was younger.
He dated all his crushes. Does it count as
And
a crush?
everybody else's crushes.
I really liked Bonnie and Agisawa, but you probably don't even know.
Yes, I do.
Oh wait, yeah, of course you
Come
would.
on.
Stunts, but she did NBL, and I was a little kid. I was like,
Yeah. Gemma,
I had
anyone?
a crush on Jimmy Pham.
Yeah, we all had.
me
it.
too.
We all had. it. Yo, Jimmy, wherever you at, come find all
Where
of them.
is Jimmy Pham?
He went to med school, UCLA,
Yeah, he's like a
did all that.
doctor
Not
now.
like I followed him or anything after
He's
that.
he's like a doctor now.
Yeah.
Really?
Really? Oh, you go. I just asked
Oh.
mine. Oh wait.
All
go.
right. Warm-up ritual. What's the shit that you did behind closed doors that nobody saw before you went up?
Throw up.
Oh, really?
Really?
Boom.
Dude, I would throw up before just because I would get so nervous, and then that would like level me out.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's okay.
Interesting. I would just stretch and listen to like pumped up music.
Yeah.
Okay, more people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember there's a funny story. You might have to cut this out. But there were some guys on Pro Rank that swore by watching porn before they like together
What?
before they
Together.
That
What
made
do you
me
do?
together?
Yeah. So mine was a combination of the two. I would
Wait,
go.
what? You would throw up and watch porn?
Well, no, sorry, not throw up.
porn.
Not throw up.
Our
I
director's
would,
concerned for you.
I would like go into a corner and blast like Tupac in my headphones.
got that, okay.
And I would like rap
Dear Mama?
angrily into a wall.
jerking off.
And then no. Well, I would do it until I had to poop or pee, and then I had to like empty my system, and then I was ready to. Oh, and I didn't eat for a day before
the
That's
whole day?
Yeah.
Why?
because I wanted to suffer.
Did you do like the Sammy V thing where you take off your
Nope.
uniform?
Nope. I just didn't. I wouldn't eat before I either competed or performed. So I just wouldn't eat for a day.
So maybe you should have tried that so you didn't throw up.
Yeah.
And if I
Dude,
want,
I need to eat.
biggest martial arts inspiration, film, sport karate, anywhere.
Ooh, I would say Hiro Koda.
Sick.
He's the one that like really got me to start refining my tournament stuff, and then he would hire me to do stunts at the start. Taught me so much. If I wasn't so like in my own world, I probably could have learned so much more if I actually paid attention. But like,
Who is
he's always been
Hiro? Who is Hiro Koda?
Hiro Koda's a stunt warrior now, but I met him.
Didn't he direct on Cobra Kai?
Yeah. He Cobra
Damn.
Kai. He's coordinated Stranger Things, like a whole bunch of stuff. He's amazing. He's an old school competitor.
My
as
second
well.
job actually ever, we did a job in London together, and I hit him with a broomstick in the face.
Sick.
Yeah. And he just like slow turned to Chad.
Sick.
He slow turned to Chad and was like, "The fuck is this guy?" He was so pissed. I messed up the quote.
Yeah, you hit him in the face.
Well,
Sorry. It was an
sometimes that
accident.
happened.
I'm glad he didn't kill me.
As far as celebrities go, I'd say Jet Li, Jackie
Oh.
Chan, Stephen Chow.
Yeah.
And as far as like martial artists on the competition scene, John Valera and Ming Lu.
Yeah.
Dang, there was a lot of inspiration. I should have had some more.
I'm
really
just glad you
nervous.
guys didn't say
Oh,
Jimmy
jeez.
Fallon again.
Oh god, I should have had more.
golly.
Oh no. For you, you can do cinema or even just back to tricking days. Anyone you looked up to?
Jermaine Soto.
Oh, dang.
For his kicks. No, I mean, I pretty much always say my inspirations in everything we do and talk about, so I feel like I'm a broken record. But if I had to model my style, I always try to be like Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to be like Donnie Yen somehow.
Wow.
So it was really cool when I got to work with him twice.
Well, guys.
Prodigy.
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 Guys, hands at 3 and let's all say Prodigy. 1, 2, 3. Prodigy! Guys, thank you so much for being here. Steve, Gemma, Jeremy, my name is Jan Valera. And we ask that you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what kind of groupings you want next or another sport karate one with a different mix of people. Us!